Hey, welcome back. Today, as you saw in the intro, we're gonna deal with one of these. This is a pumpkin. Pumpkin don't always come in a can, so you don't need it. Okay, so I'm gonna make some pumpkin. We're gonna make, I've got cards here. Yeah, the usual card. Go ahead, like, subscribe, smash notifications, leave a comment, share. Share's the big one, please. So, yes, we're not gonna make pumpkin pie today. We're gonna make some gnocchi. Fairly simple to do, takes a little bit of effort, takes a little time. Something you can plan out, and to tell you the truth, this works out best if you make it the day before. And I'll get into that a little bit later. So first we gotta get this thing opened up. So sometimes if you're lucky, you can just pull this right off. Then you need a knife. The bigger, the heavier, the better. So I'm just going to come in here, give a little thwack, and use my hands. Don't do this down at the tip. If you do it at the tip, bad things happen. So I'm just going to essentially just circle this around. You can use a mallet if you want. Wooden one would work best. And then eventually you get to the point where it just splits apart. There we go. Now, we gotta get the seeds out. I find the best way to get the seeds out is a heavy spoon. I've also found this little rice paddle, works pretty good too. And I'm gonna use this guy again later on. But first, we'll go in here and we'll just dig out all these seeds. An ice cream spade works really good too. I like this better than a big spoon because I got better control with it. Also, word of advice, if you have gloves, use them. Because this stuff has a tendency to leave a little sticky mess on your hands that after about an hour of using a scrubby on your hands, it'll come off. So, use the gloves. Okay, now that we got all the seeds out, we need to season this and we need to roast these off. Well, we've got to soften off the flesh and stuff like that. So first, let's season it. Black pepper. Salt. And we're just going to hit it with a little bit of olive oil. Rub it in just a little bit. Put them on a sheet tray, and it's ready to go in the oven. This recipe calls for more than just pumpkin. It calls also for potato. So I'm gonna roast this potato off, but before I do that, I'm just gonna stab a couple of holes in it just to let the excess moisture leave. And these are going in the oven. So those are going to go in the oven for an hour, hour and a half. And I'm going to start checking them after about 45 minutes. I want them nice and soft. Same with the potato, same with the pumpkin. Make sure it's nice and soft, so that way I can manipulate them and put them into the gnocchi. I'll be back in a little bit. All right, I'm back. It took about an hour and a half to get these guys going. I just turned it over just to get some of the extra liquid out of it, stuff like that, and I let it cool to the point where I could actually handle it. So, back to the scooper. Or actually it's a rice paddle. And we want to get all of this stuff out of there. And it comes right out. Still pretty warm, but I can handle it. This one's really hot. All right, that's out of there. Next step, we're gonna put this through one of these. This is a potato ricer. Can work for a lot of things. We'll just put this in here. Now you can puree this in a food processor, but don't completely liquefy it. Just push it in there and kind of pulse it till it's broken up quite a bit. All right, there's our pumpkin puree. Now, if you wanted to, you could use this in a bread or pumpkin pie. It's ready for you to do that. So, you don't need a can. This took maybe 2 hours to do and you're good. We do the same thing for the potato. Okay, I riced up the potatoes. I'm gonna need a cup of that. That goes in. I'm gonna need a cup and a half of our pumpkin. Now, you're gonna have a little extra. That's okay, this stuff freezes very well. Just put it in a zip top bag, flatten it out, put it in the freezer. There's a cup. And a half. Cup and a half of the pumpkin. Throw in 1 egg. It's gonna need some salt. It's about 2 teaspoons of salt. Some pepper. I lost count. That's probably 7 or 8, 9, 10. We have to think about how we want to spice this. First, I'm going to throw in some nutmeg, but do we want to go full? No. You know me. You know what I'm going to do. We'll get the nutmeg in. Good 1/4 teaspoon of that. And then I'm going to put in the chilies. This is dried anchos. I'm going to go with I'm guesstimating about 2 tablespoons. Don't worry. It won't be hot. It'll be perfect. Now we need the flour. I'm going to start off with a cup and a half of flour and just see what it needs. There's a cup. That's about a half. And I'm just gonna mix this together with my hands. They're clean, don't worry, I washed them sometime today. This is gonna form a very sticky dough. We wanna bring it enough flour in it so that it is not so sticky. But I'm gonna move it to the cutting board. And we'll integrate some more flour into it. So you don't want to over knead this, you just want to get it so that it incorporates the flour, and it's taken on a good bit of flour. I don't think I need any more. So I'm going to just roll this out just a little bit and divide it up into workable sections. And then we'll start portioning these out. Let me clean up a little bit and then we'll get on to that. All right, so I cleaned up a little bit, which is good because these need to rest just a touch. I'm gonna roll these out, kind of stretching them, stuff like that. But before we do that, we gotta come up with a landing location for these. So I am going to employ my Ireland Sites tea towel, put it down on a sheet pan, hit that with a little bit of flour. We don't want it to stick. And I'm going to start rolling this out. We're looking for about 3/4 of an inch. Now mind you, I'm rolling and I'm also stretching a little bit. So, okay. And we need to cut these into about 1/2 to 3/4 inch discs, or well, dumplings. Well, it is a dumpling. So, bench scraper. Okay, so we've got these little dumplings. Now, traditionally, they're going to use a board specifically designed to get the ridges on it. Well, I'm not a big fan of having something that's all it does is that. So, most people use a fork. Just get the ridges on it. Now, are these going to be perfect? No, no. But I also found something else. I stole this from my wife. It works pretty good. So, roll out the ridges. They don't have to be perfect. You know, the perfect looking ones that you see at the restaurants or whatever, chances are they were machine made. That happens. So I'm gonna finish rolling these up and then we'll make a dish out of these. Oh, one more important thing. These have to rest. And when you put these out on the tray, make sure that they're not touching, because if they're touching, they're sticking. Okay, these are done. which is why I don't do pastry. These are done. They've rested for a half an hour. Now they need to go in the freezer. Trust me on that one. They can go from freezer to boiling water and be fine. So to keep them from sticking, they're going into the freezer, freeze them rock solid. Once they're rock solid, bag them and then throw them back in the freezer. And then pull out what you need for dinner. Off to the freezer. Hey, I'm back. As I promised, I'm gonna make a dish out of this gnocchi. So I got some, they're out of the freezer. Keep them frozen. They only take seconds to come up to cook, even from frozen. So might as well. So in the pan here, I've got some bacon rendering off. It's almost to the point that I want it at. So we're gonna make a quick little, simple little sauce. Gonna have some garlic, the bacon of course, a little butter, some cream, some Parmesan, plenty of black pepper. That sounds like an Americanized version of carbonara. Well, you're right. Almost is. So we're just waiting for that water to come up to a boil. While that's going on, I'm going to take some paper towels and just soak up some of the extra bacon fat. I know, yeah, I could use this in my whatever, breakfast cereal, that type of thing, but it's just a little bit too much. So while that's going, I'm gonna throw in the garlic. Got some sliced garlic. Oh, it's already starting to get aromatic. Now you gotta be careful with this stuff because it will burn. Burnt garlic is bitter. And we don't like bitter garlic. I'm just gonna let that cook just a little bit. So that's coming up to a boil, and goes the gnocchi. Bring that back up to a boil. We just wait for the gnocchi to float, and then it's done. Let's take a look at our sauce. Not bad. It needs a little bit more fat, so I'm gonna throw some of this butter in. A little butter never hurt nobody. The big thing is you gotta get that to a rolling boil. When you do that, everything works out splendidly. Let's get back to our sauce here. A little bit of cream. And we'll start integrating our Parmesan. Might as well hit it with the black pepper now. Just a touch of salt, not much. There's a lot of salt in that bacon. We'll let this come up. Check out the gnocchi, that's looking good. A little more cheese. Check the consistency, looks good. Tastes good. I'm gonna drop the temperature just to let it sit and stay warm until the gnocchi's done. I've got some sage. That'll be really nice. We're gonna cut it in what's called a chiffonade, which is essentially fine little itty bitty shreds. So I'm gonna stack them up, then roll them, and then just cut them very thinly. So a little bit is gonna go in the sauce. Gnocchi will be ready in 1 minute, less than 1 minute. So we'll get ready to make our plate. All right, here's the gnocchi. We'll spoon the sauce over it and turn that off. A little more of the sage. Hit it with some black pepper. And there you have it. Pumpkin gnocchi with kind of a carbonara sauce. So, if you like this, share, like, subscribe, smash all the buttons down there. Remember to share. That really helps us out on YouTube. That really helps all of us out if you share it. I'm Chef Terry. I'll see you next time.